Hello world, I'm Robin Catling and this is Write On. Join me on my author journey as I delve into the craft of writing, with tools, tips and lessons learned the hard way so you don't have to. Grammarly's good, but not for fiction. There are plenty of beneficial writer's tools, but a weekend of editing has taught me something. Grammarly's good, but not for fiction. As a rules-based expert system, Grammarly is great for a punctuation muggle like me, but it's nowhere close to artificial intelligence. Grammarly knows everything about grammar, but nothing about style. Originally intended to spoon-feed writers of dull corporate reports and presentations, it's entirely unsuited for creative writing. Use it on fiction, and you need to take its advice with a giant ladle of salt. Incidentally, it doesn't like the word ladle. Too complicated. It suggests spoon. I put this very post through Grammarly. It made 57 suggestions. I accepted 19. Grammarly's rule base seems determined to remove any trace of style and voice from a text. Worse than that, it comes up with suggestions that are borderline bonkers. Your punctuation will be flawless, your content will be laughably trashed. Follow this thing slavishly, and watch your text turn into the bastard child of predictive text and Google Translate, from around 2006. It has no concept of context, dialogue, or dialect. Rhetoric doesn't exist in Grammarly's universe. Hard and fast. You want examples? Fine. Halfway through a 70,000-word manuscript, and these are the highlights. Grammarly keeps adding transition phases, in particular, instead. There is no instead, it's just the following action. Also, it repeatedly wants to insert so, finally, eventually, then, and unfortunately at the start of sentences. Often. It's suggested putting at least one, sometimes all, of then and unfortunately and finally on every single page. Multiple times. But it tells me my text is repetitive. That's because it doesn't like repeated words. It knows nothing of rhetoric or the repetition of words and structures for emphasis. I'm using a lot of specific technical terms like bow and arrow, so I'm not going to change instances of arrow to dart or, bizarrely, hand. It hates repetition so much it's dead keen on synonyms. Highlighting words with the suggestion, choose a synonym. Highlighting the word words with the suggestion, choose a synonym, it suggests dishes. Dishes? What? Struggling for a reply, she chose her dishes carefully. How about, she tried to describe the feelings, but couldn't find the dishes. Grammarly also wants to insert that. Yes, the word every writing coach on the planet tells you to go through and delete. That. Forget slang terms and a lot of contractions. Grammarly is more formal than Jeeves serving aperitifs. It suggests because in place of cause, why, it may not be appropriate in this context, which is odd since it knows nothing about context. It's worse than my drunk English teacher in the 1980s. Brevity is king regardless of style. How often does it suggest the phrase blah 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 may be wordy? Consider changing the wording. Sometimes it comes up with a shorter form, sometimes it gives up and leaves you to it. Grammarly is also incapable of building context in a passage. It may be unclear who she refers to. There are only two people in the dialogue, one man he and one woman she. How is that unclear? When it branches out into spelling, it goes especially crazy. When does the verb to get away become to get away? Best I know, get away is a noun. Whatever dictionary it uses, Grammarly often contradicts both Mozilla and LibreOffice. No offence. The woke police have been hard at work in Grammarly too. I got the classic, do you want to sound more diplomatic? No, I frickin' don't, dumbass. This is an argument in a dialogue. It also wants to change slaves, which may cause offence, to an enslaved person. I'm failing to see the difference. And yes, I am describing an offensive practice on the part of the bad guys. Surprisingly though, Grammarly turns out to be a hip-hop fan. Why else does it want to replace the two pack ponies, that's ponies carrying packs, 2 of them, with the 2-pack ponies, hyphenated. What next? The biggest horse becomes the biggie horse? It's not all bad. The free version of Grammarly is doing a stand-up job of fixing my commas, apostrophes and semicolons. Even some of its nonsense prompts have me looking at the text thinking, is that what I really mean? Before I move on to make edits that I missed in previous rounds. I just wish it was better. That's all for this time. Thanks for stopping by. You can like and subscribe to the channel, or go to robincatling.info to check out the blog.